Even with Dogman's massive popularity, there are still shocking secrets hidden within the pages and screen. Let's uncover them together. Number 1. Sarah Haytoff is actually Sarah Hayton. Sarah Haytoff might be the best reporter in the Dogman universe, but there's something even crazier going on. She's based on a real person, and not just the name. Sarah's last name is Haddon. Yep, Haddon and Hadoff. It's literally a pun. It turns out that Dave Pilkey made the character a tribute to one of his close friends. Not many people noticed this though, because most fans didn't even know the real Sarah existed. But there's more. Hadoff's birthday in the books is December 26th. And guess whose birthday that actually is in real life? You guessed it, Sarah Haddon. So basically, Hadoff isn't just inspired by someone, she pretty much is that person. Makes you wonder if the real Sarah is also out there solving crimes and chasing headlines. Number 2, drawn like a kid, on purpose. Dogman might look like it was sketched by a kid with a box of crayons, and that's kind of the point. While most comics today are made on digital screens, Dave Pilkey sticks to good old paper and pencil. That's not just a fun choice. It's part of the whole idea. Inside the Dogman world, the comics are made by 2 kids, George and Harold from Captain Underpants. So the artwork has to feel like something 2 kids actually made. That's why Dave Pilkey draws everything by hand, just like he did when he was young. He's not copying a style, he's copying his childhood. The drawings are full of color, scribbles, and goofy energy because that's how kids draw. Only after he finishes the art with pencil and ink does it get scanned into a computer. That mix of kid-like art and real skill is part of why the series has become so popular. Last year alone, over 3.8 million people read Dogman, and every page was drawn by hand. Number 3. The lost comic that could have changed Dogman. You already know George and Harold created Dogman, but what if we told you they made another comic long before that? One that almost tied into Dogman's world? It's called The Adventures of Ook and Gluk. And yep, it's real. This story takes place over 500,000 years ago, in the Stone Age, where 2 best friends live a simple life, until someone from the future ruins everything. A greedy villain from the year 2200 travels back in time to steal nature's resources. And enslave cavemen too. Ook and Gluk escape through the same portal and train for 7 years at a kung fu school. By the time they return, they're ready to fight. Dinosaurs, time travel, martial arts. It had everything. But the book was pulled from stores. Some readers, especially from Asian communities, pointed out that the kung fu scenes used outdated or harmful ideas. Dave Pilkey listened and removed the comic for good. It's safe because this book showed early signs of the big stories and emotional moments we now see in Dogman. Petey's relationship with his clone, for example, came later. But it started with stories like this. Even the forgotten comics helped shape what came next. Number 4. Dogman was almost just a dog. Believe it or not, Dogman didn't always look like the character we know today. When Dave Pilkey first created him back in 2nd grade, the plan was totally different. Dogman was going to be a normal dog. No human part at all. And instead of being a cop, he was just a pup who got hit by lightning. That's how he got his powers. But here's the twist. The powers didn't last. Every time he needed them again, he had to get zapped by lightning all over again. That was the running joke. No police job, no stitched-together body, just a supercharged dog who kept getting electrocuted. Sounds wild, right? But eventually, Dave Pilkey changed the story. He gave Dogman a real mission, fighting crime, and added the human part to make him a little more heroic and a lot funnier. That small change is what turned a silly lightning dog into one of the most popular comic characters today. Number 5. Wait, does Dogman have an age limit? Here's something most fans never hear. Dogman isn't meant for every kid. Even though it looks silly and fun, the comics and upcoming movie actually have an age rating. They're recommended for ages 8 and up, and younger kids should read or watch with a parent. That's right, if you're under 8, it's technically not for you. Sounds strange, but it makes sense when you think about it. Some of the stories go pretty deep. Petey's tough childhood, Grace's sickness, and even Big Jim's tragic loss after a car crash. These aren't just funny comic moments. They're emotional and serious, even if they're told in a funny way. That's why there's a warning in place. It's not to ruin the fun. It's there so readers can enjoy the story at the right time. So if you're old enough, go ahead and read on. But if not, maybe wait a little, or bring an adult to help you through the big stuff. Number 6. Big Jim got his own comic because of a fan? Big Jim is finally getting the spotlight in the newest Dogman comics. We're seeing his past, his family, and even a wild prophecy from aliens about his future. But do you know why these stories even exist? It all started with a YouTube fan. In an interview with the channel Dorian's World, Dave Pilkey shared something surprising. He said he watches the videos and kept wondering, why does this guy like Big Jim so much? That simple question stuck with him. And soon, it turned into a whole new story idea. Because one fan loved Big Jim, the author decided to explore him more. That's how we got comics with Big Jim as the main character. It's proof that being a fan can actually shape the stories you read. Who knows? Maybe if enough people talk about Sarah Haydoff, she'll get her own origin story too. After all, you never know who's watching or writing. Number 7. Dogman exists because someone didn't read a sign? There's a hidden detail in the Dogman movie that almost no one talks about. The whole story begins with an explosion. Petey plants a bomb, it goes off, and that accident leads to the creation of Dogman. But here's the thing. None of it had to happen. Right before the blast, Officer Knight is standing near a huge sign. It clearly says the building is abandoned. No one was inside. It was empty. So if Knight had just read the sign and waited, nothing bad would have happened. He wouldn't have rushed in, he wouldn't have gotten hurt, and Dogman never would have been created. But because he missed that tiny detail, we ended up with a brand new hero. Pretty wild, right? It also means that without that one mistake, Petey might have stayed a full villain. So in a way, Dogman was born from a small moment that changed everything. And most people didn't even notice it. Number 8. The first Dogman looked totally different. Dogman wasn't always a cop with a blue uniform and a badge. When Dave Pilkey first drew him at just 8 years old, the character looked nothing like the hero we know today. In that early drawing, Dogman walked on 4 legs like a normal dog. He even wore a collar, which means he had an owner, most likely Officer Knight. He wasn't part human yet and didn't have a job at all. There was no police theme, no crime-fighting sidekick, and definitely no police hat. Instead, he looked more like a classic superhero pet, and it's likely he would have worn a cape. That version was more playful and simple, inspired by the drawings Dave used to love doing as a kid, dogs wearing capes and saving the day. We don't know for sure if George and Harold would have been the writers of that version, but they were already part of Dave's imagination. So it's safe to say Dogman started with them, too. Number 9. OK City's prisons are insane. Here's something wild about Dogman's world. OK City has a jail for cats. Yup, you heard that right. Cats are such a big problem in this town that they need their own separate prison. But it doesn't stop there. The city is packed with even more strange jails. There's one for dogs, one for fish, and even a special place for old ladies. Oh, and don't forget the prison for villains the size of insects, or the one just for mayors. Each one pops up in the books, and they could even make an appearance in the upcoming DreamWorks movie. It's crazy to think that OK City has enough criminals to fill all these bizarre prisons. But honestly, who knew there were that many elderly lawbreakers running around? Whatever it is, it definitely makes for a very unique place to live. And who knows what other weird jails might pop up next. Number 10. Chief's secret crush on Sarah? In the Dogman movie, there's a surprising detail that hints at a possible romance. The Chief openly admits he has a crush on Sarah Haydoff during an argument. And Sarah? She seems a little intrigued, especially after seeing his dramatic entrance when he takes down Flippy. It's funny because in the books, there's no romance between them. The Chief actually has feelings for Nurse Lady, and they eventually get married. But in the movie, it looks like things might take a different turn. Do you think the Chief should end up with Sarah or Nurse Lady? Number 11. Dogman's literary references. Did you know Dogman's book titles are full of nods to classic literature? For example, Lord of the Fleas is inspired by Lord of the Flies, For Whom the Ball Rolls is a play on For Whom the Bell Tolls, and Grime and Punishment is a pun on Crime and Punishment. These references are part of the story because George and Harold, Dogman's fictional creators, are reading these famous books in school. But there's more to it. Dave Pilkey, the real author, likely includes these titles to spark kids' curiosity about the original classics. Dogman might be fun, but these books can open doors to a world of important stories. So next time you spot one of these clever titles, you might just want to check out the original. That's all for today's Dogman facts you probably missed. Do you think the new movie should focus on the Chief's romance with Sarah? Drop your opinion below, and don't forget to subscribe for more hidden gems from your favorite characters.